A year and a half ago, we did a research looking at two big Nestle baby food brands. This was Nido and Cerelac. And we saw that, in fact, the Nestle was adding a lot of sugar when this product was sold in low and middle-income countries, whereas such products are sold without sugar in Switzerland and Europe. I can discuss that if such studies are possible or have been done already. This is, we wanted to see what, if anything has changed in Africa, because Africa is a big market for Nestle and especially for Cerelac. Cerelac is the most popular baby cereal brand in Africa, and also because in Africa now obesity is really becoming a very serious problem. So we wanted to see if anything had changed in Africa. And what we did was to work this time with a lot of organizations across 20 countries. We could collect around 100 Cerelac products sold in these 20 countries and get them analyzed by a laboratory based in France. And to our surprise, in fact, nearly nothing has changed since 2 years, in fact. More than 90% of the product that we could analyze contain added sugar. Yeah, but it's a lot based on the test. Remember, last time we found 4 grams per serving of Cerelac. In Africa, we found nearly 6 grams in one single serving of Cerelac, 50% higher than the global average. And twice the amount that Nestle used to add in India, which is the main market in India. They used to put like 3 grams of added sugar in a serving. In Africa, nearly 6 grams. That's 1.5 sugar cube. It's really a lot when you think that those products are intended for babies from 6 months. Here, you won't get the information about the amount of sugar inside. Nestle denies any double standard. They are saying that they're selling product with sugar and no added sugar everywhere around the world, but that's just not true. You can just walk in a Swiss supermarket or even online, enter the Nestle website, and you see that in fact this is the Swiss brand and none of the product has added sugar. That's completely untrue. I have here also the Cerelac, because in Europe, in the UK and Germany, Nestle sells Cerelac. And you can check, those are the products. This is the Weizen, it means wheat. This is the UK product. These products have no added sugar in Europe. The same product, when they're sold in Africa, have about 5 to 6 grams per serving. So Nestle knows how to make Cerelac with no added sugar. It just keeps that for the European market, and for Africa, it's the sugary product. That's not acceptable. Nestle also says that our analysis is misleading because maybe we have taken into account not only the added sugar but also the natural sugars from the fruits, the milk. That's not true, and Nestle knows it. We've informed them in advance that about the methodology. We've offered to share the test result with them. We've taken only the sugar added by Nestle in the form of sucrose, which is really the table sugar. We've excluded all the other sugars that are naturally present in the milk and the fruits and the cereals because they don't count as added sugar. So it's really only the values that we've disclosed, the nearly 6 grams per serving. That's really the table sugar that Nestle is adding to its product. And so you don't see, it's not here, it's not in the list of ingredients. It's a lot of sugar if you think about it. It's like 1.5 sugar cube in a serving twice a day. This means around 3 sugar cubes per day. In a month, this means around 90 sugar cubes for babies that are aged 6 months. That's the first food they get. They're developing, they're very fragile. That is really dangerous. In fact, we know now that sugar is one of the major risk factors for obesity, overweight, and all the problems that go with that. And we also know that this period from 6 months is critical because babies are still developing. So such amount of sugar will be really will be a disaster for the health. It will really put their health at risk. weight, overweight, childhood obesity, but also a lot of other problems. But also we know that during this period, that's when babies develop their taste preferences. And so babies that are exposed to very sugary product so early in life will be children that will love sugary product for all their life. There's milk, oils and stuff, but you don't have sugar. And of course, yes, such high amount of sugar, like 1.5 sugar cube in a serving for babies that are 6 months, will be also a disaster for their short-term health. No, it will create overweight, obesity, childhood obesity, but also it could impact their brain development and the development of all their bodies. So that is really dangerous levels of sugar that Nestle is including in this product, and they're aware about it. We found in a lot of websites, Nestle websites for parents in Africa, a lot of advice by Nestle recommending to avoid sugar for babies because there's like a short-term, long-term risk for babies, but also because it will impact their taste preferences. And so Nestle clearly says no added sugar for babies. So they are aware of the risk, but at the same time, they keep adding these dangerous levels of sugar in the product they sold in those markets. And Nestle really gets the message that consumers in Africa also don't want sugar. I think what's important here is what people in Africa feel about this double standard. And if you see the reactions to this new investigation, they feel that it is a colonial attitude from Nestle. They don't understand why babies in Switzerland have access to safer product, to non-sugary product, whereas babies in Africa have to get the product that are full of sugar. It's really, no one understands this. No one understands this double standard from Nestle. And I think it's really, it's like just one new episode in a long history of abuse by this company that has abused the rights and the trusts of on the African continent. But I think this latest episode is really unacceptable for a lot of people in Africa. I think the reaction in Africa was quite strong to this new research. I think this proves also that Nestle is wrong, believing that consumers in Africa don't care. We've really seen strong reaction to this investigation in big markets like Nigeria, South Africa, Senegal, Côte d'Ivoire, but also in smaller countries like Togo, Benin, Burundi. I think the reaction was quite similar in all these countries, which was a rejection of Nestle's double standard. Why would they sell safer product in Switzerland and Europe and more dangerous products in Africa? I mean, this is unacceptable. And I think there was really a strong reaction. I think this shows that, in fact, consumers in Africa do care about the health of their babies and do care about sugar in those products. In fact, the mothers that we could interview when we went there in South Africa, the mothers, in fact, were often not aware that there was sugar in this product. And when we were telling them that, they were quite concerned, in fact, and they told us, we don't want sugar. We don't want sugar in the product, which will include the fruits, the milk, the cereals. And so a major problem is that consumers are often not informed about the amount of sugar in the product. If you check one of the package of those Cerelac sold in Africa, it's not indicated in most countries because most countries don't require manufacturers to disclose the amount of added sugar in the product. It's not mandatory. So Nestle doesn't do it. Why Nestle has this double approach? Because in Switzerland, so right now there's a campaign going on in Africa, and we are planning to work with our partners there, consumer defense organization, to push Nestle to change, in fact, and to remove the sugar from all its products sold in Africa. That is what we are doing now, putting the pressure on the company, but also with our partners, trying to get the national legislations to be revised, because the amount of sugar which is allowed by national legislation is simply too high, just not up to date. But the short-term impact, we're demanding Nestle to do the same treatment for African babies as they treat babies in Europe, Switzerland, and now India. And we also try to get those national legislations to change, to be revised, to just ban the addition of sugar in these products for babies from 6 months. I mean, at that age, babies should not be exposed to any amount of sugar. That's clearly recognized now by the World Health Organization guidelines. And so that should be now reflected in national legislations. We'll keep also investigating the sugar in the products sold for Nestle, maybe other ingredients, just to show that this double standard approach from Nestle is not by accident. It's really a deliberate decision that is taken here in Vevey, where they have the headquarters, to just feed people and babies in some countries with lower quality product. And this is unacceptable. Work with are more like consumer defense organizations. So they're not really. In India, 6 months after the release of the investigation, they announced that they would change the entire portfolio and introduce 14 Cerelac products with no added sugar. So they can be quick, but indeed in Africa, they've been quite slow. We've seen only, during the investigation, we've seen only one country where they had introduced a non-sugar variant, which was South Africa. In South Africa, Nestle just last spring introduced 2 no added sugar variants, but that's basically it. In the 20 countries that we investigated, that was the only country where we find that Nestle had introduced non-sugar variant. Now, Nestle has, after we released this new investigation, they've said that they are in the process of introducing non-sugar variants in all their markets, and that in fact they have a goal to have completed this process until the end of this year, 2005. So, well, it's a lot of work because, as I said, in only 1 out of 20 countries that we investigated in Africa, we found non-sugar variants introduced by Nestle. So still a lot of work to be done. But yeah, they're too slow. They're too slow. They can be very quick, as shown by India. In Switzerland and Europe, they have removed the sugar for a very long time. In India, they've done it very quickly after the investigation. But I think when Nestle doesn't feel the pressure of consumers, they move very slowly. Just for one single reason, is that sugar makes the product very attractive and get the babies addicted to the product.
Une enquête qui a été vérifiée d'abord au niveau de la Côte d'Ivoire. En amont, nous avons constaté que les produits qui venaient de l'Afrique, c'est-à-dire au niveau de Nestlé, contenaient du sucre ajouté. Et il faut dire qu'on a récemment assisté à un forum au niveau du PNM pour la nutrition, dans lequel on a constaté qu'il y avait un chiffre assez élevé de taux d'obésité, de 35% au niveau des enfants. Et aussi du diabète du type 2. Donc, ces signes nous a vraiment alarmés et nous avons été contactés par l'ONG Public Aid avec qui il y a une collaboration pour les examens, pour les analyses plus précises sur les produits Nestlé. Et dès qu'on a vu qu'il y avait vraiment un taux élevé de sucre ajouté, c'est-à-dire de 7,5 par portion et de 6 par portion, de 6 grammes par portion. Donc, ce qui est équivalent à 2 carreaux de sucre. Et c'est carrément énorme pour une enfant, c'est énorme. Donc, ça nous a alerté vu que nous sommes là pour la protection de l'enfance au niveau de la Côte d'Ivoire. Je pense que vraiment, c'est une injustice. Voilà, c'est une injustice. Parce que tous les enfants sont égaux. Si l'on doit supprimer du sucre au niveau de l'Europe, cela doit se faire sur tous les continents, sans exception. Parce qu'on sait tous que le sucre apporte des maladies. Et si on sait que c'est un danger au niveau de la santé des enfants et qu'on retire le sucre au niveau de l'Europe, on doit le faire partout dans le monde, sur tous les continents sans exception. Alors, c'est pourquoi nous interpellons Nestlé afin que ces produits-là contenant le sucre soient retirés en Afrique et qu'on adopte le standard zéro sucre ajouté. Il y a Nestlé qui nous a répondu, nous ont dit que la norme autorise jusqu'à 7,5. Et eux, j'essaie un peu de diminuer par exemple de 7 à 6. Donc, c'est la norme qu'il faut revoir. Et cette norme-là doit être discutée et être un standard de zéro sucre ajouté. Il y a notre partenaire de public qui nous a dit à notre dernière réunion qu'au niveau de la réunion du Codex Alimentarius, figurez-vous qu'il y a un seul Africain. Et c'est une dame qui parle au nom de tous les Africains sur les normes. Alors, je crois que nous, les Africains, devaient plus envoyer des personnes à cette table-là pour pouvoir mieux en discuter, défendre vraiment le continent africain. D'abord, je vais accuser nos dirigeants africains. Au niveau du Codex Alimentarius, je peux dire que Nestlé d'abord est déjà dans la norme. Parce que la norme autorise 7,5 grammes par portion ajoutée. Au niveau de la Côte d'Ivoire, avec le codinome, c'est la norme 46083 autorise 7,5 grammes par portion. Donc, c'est à nos dirigeants africains d'interpeller. Parce qu'en Europe, il n'y a pas de sucre ajouté. En Asie, pareillement, ils ont eu à se poser la question et les sucres ont été retirés. Mais c'est une injustice. Parce que, effectivement, vous avez parlé de moins cher. Et puis, les produits locaux ici, les produits qui sont traités sont moins chers et du coup, sont de moins qualité. J'interpelle toujours nos dirigeants africains. C'est à eux de porter la voix des sans-voix, la voix des consommateurs, la voix de la population. Et quand on parle de santé publique, ils doivent être alertés. À la réunion du programme de la nutrition au niveau de la Côte d'Ivoire, il y a l'OMS qui a dit qu'ils allaient essayer de revoir le standard, mettre les moyens à jour pour revoir les standards. Il faut que cette norme-là soit revue à zéro sucre ajouté au niveau du Codex Alimentarius. Donc, c'est à nos dirigeants africains de prendre vraiment cette question-là au cœur et de pouvoir interpeller même ces industries-là. Au niveau de l'Afrique, il n'y a pas d'interpellation au niveau des dirigeants africains. Et c'est pourquoi, au niveau de l'Afrique, nous sommes plus de 17 pays qui lançons cette alerte-là. Plus on se fait entendre, plus nous répondons. Le mot de la fin, c'est d'interpeller Nestlé de retirer d'abord les produits qui contiennent du sucre au niveau de l'Afrique, si tout le continent africain sans exception, et de ne plus en rajouter, d'adopter le standard zéro sucre ajouté comme ils le font au niveau de l'Europe et en Asie.